Instead of trying to change the white man in your mind, make you accept us, we change the mind of the black man and make him accept himself. And as soon as he accepts himself, he'll solve his own problem. He won't be trying to force himself into your factory and into your bedroom and into your kitchen.
With no education, you have neo-colonialism instead of colonialism, like you got in Africa 9, like you got in Haiti. So what we're talking about is there has to be educational program. That's very important. As a matter of fact, it's so important for us that a person has to go through 6 weeks of our political education before he can consider himself a member of the party, able to even run down ideology for the party. Why? Because if they don't have an education, then they're nowhere. You dig what I'm saying? They're nowhere because they don't even know why they're doing what they're doing. You might get people caught up in the emotionless movement. You understand me? You might get them caught up in because they're poor and they want something. And then if they're not educated, they want more. And before you know it, they'll be capitalist. And before you know it, we have Negro imperialists.
Peace and Black Power families, Brother Agyei Tyehimba from Harlem Liberation School, where we unashamedly and consistently teach Black people to wake up, clean up, and stand up. We hope that you are in good spirits regardless of your circumstance or condition. I didn't talk about what you're going through. We're saying your spirit. We hope you're in good spirits because you can be in a good spirit regardless of what you're going through, right? Today is an infamous day. If you are a new African and proud of it, if you're a Black person that we might characterize as having nationalist or Pan-Africanist tendencies, you know, you love your people, you want to fight for your people in various ways, express that in a multiplicity of ways, then this is a day of infamy for you. And we have to get to a place where we have days where we memorialize our people, whether some government establishment or school calls a day off or not, like they do. Because what this does is it teaches our kids this is an important person. When you hear that name, you stop, you listen, read, and most importantly, emulate. Because we're good, we'll read and we can quote shit. But Malcolm was very important about being on time. Malcolm was very important about reading every day. Everywhere he went, he had a book. You would never catch him without a book. Malcolm took notes. He wasn't a type of person that was arrogant. He learned. He would debate you 1 minute, destroy you in the debate, then come right up to you after the debate and say, "Hey, man, I noticed your knowledge on the Congo was very deep. Tell me more about that. Where can I learn more?" Right? John Rick Clark, who we all praise today and say his name, was thoroughly impressed with Brother Malcolm. Thoroughly impressed. Dr. Ben, who we all praise today, thoroughly impressed with Brother Malcolm. And that's just a few people. When I think back on all the people that taught me a lot right in Harlem where I was born and raised, before I even got out of Harlem and went to college, every one of those people, with the exception of maybe my mother, who was more born in Alabama and was more probably influenced by Martin Luther King, every single one of these people was moved and touched by Brother Malcolm. So the least he deserves is a few minutes. We're just going to talk about him quickly and then go about your day. I didn't want to wait till I want to do it now because my spirit said do it now. And I'm learning and have learned. I'm not listening to other people. I'm following my spirit. If what they say coincides with what my spirit says, we good. If not, I'm following the spirit every time. Every time I don't follow my spirit, I make bad decisions. And that goes for every level of decision you can think about. When I don't follow that voice in here, I wind up in a mucked up place. That's true indeed. Or as y'all would say, the youth would say, that's facts, right? 59 years ago, our good brother Malcolm X was assassinated right at the Audubon Ballroom, which is now called the Malcolm X and Dr. Betty Shabazz Center. Now they do wonderful events there. It's seen as kind of a community center, although very pricey one, but it's seen as a community center, a place where the people can come and gather and have events and things of that nature. But back in 1965, the Audubon Ballroom, which is not located in Harlem, most people make that mistake, it was actually up from Harlem in a section called Washington Heights, a largely Dominican section right now in New York. And at that time, the Audubon Ballroom was a ballroom. So you had fraternities and sororities would have their dances there. You even had, of course, this is now after Malcolm's assassination, some of the early hip hop performances. Treacherous 3, Cold Crush was at where? Was right at the Audubon Ballroom, written on handwritten flyers before we got digital age, right? Um, the building itself had a lot of significance, but more importantly, the fact that you got to really appreciate that this man is not killed on his way to the mosque or on the way to his organization, right? Not killed in his house, in front of his house. All of this has meaning. He's killed as he's giving a speech, right? In the middle of his speech, well, in the beginning of his speech at the Audubon Ballroom. There's some symbolism to that. These people are saying, and then when they're setting up the hit to cause a distraction, what do they say? Nigga, get your hands out my pocket. That has allegorical meaning. Malcolm was seen as a person amongst the people in our community who were trifling, who were greedy, and who were about money, who were about seeing the black community as dollar signs. Sound familiar to you today? You know any people like that? They only come around when they want your vote. They only in your face when they need some help, but you don't see no consistent effort from these people. That shows they love you. You hear a lot of talk, but you don't see consistent every day, right? Okay, we're talking about that caliber of people. So when they saying get your hands on my pocket, it's kind of saying you represent a threat to our enrichment. And it's funny because the Roman, according to biblical language, of course, the Roman government, Pontius Pilate and them, saw Jesus as a threat to their enrichment, to their governmental authority. If the people listen to this man, they're not going to be giving us their money no more. They may not pay their taxes. Even though Jesus said famously, give unto Caesar what is Caesar's and give unto God what is God's. But they saw him as, now you got to follow him or me. If you follow him, you're going to be anti-establishment because his teachings were designed for the average everyday man and woman to help empower themselves. And the government always sees that as a problem, or the government's advocates. We call them the devil's advocates. So that's what this day represents. And every day this day comes, I'm always in a funny mood. I always feel a mixture of anger that we were robbed of somebody that should have been here to continue doing their work, fulfilling his divine assignment, be here with his family, man, to nurture his family, to see his girls grow up, and here to write and to speak and to be a jegna to those of us that are really seeking clarity and really want to be help agents for our community and advocates. It's always a mixture of anger and sadness and why. Now, Harlem Liberation School has done a separate video in the past called Why They Killed Malcolm X. Because as an intellectual, it's important. The intellectual side of me feels that it's important for us to understand the nature of stuff. Don't be these superficial types. They read the first page of the book, now they're expert. No. Like, read to understand. Doesn't mean you got to be the topmost scholar in the neighborhood, but read for real understanding. Ask people who were there. Look at some documentaries. Get a sense. And so that mini doc focuses on why Malcolm was killed, because we can get stuck on the fact that Malcolm was killed and never go any further and just be paralyzed. In the same way, we could do this with our own family. Person dies, we hurt. We could be stuck in the hurt, right? In the grief, and never quite make sense of their life, their meaning for us, and never quite get to the more advanced and probably more productive stage where we take the pain, the angst, the good memories, the loving memories, and their legacy, and we attempt, at least with part of our lives, what? To be their reincarnated self, so that their life and death has meaning in real time to us. And as revolutionaries and people who really want to make conditions better and our people better, it's important that we seek understanding and wisdom of things. Why was he killed? I do encourage you, I'm going to get ready to get off of this. I do encourage you to check out that video, because it gets into about 4 or 5 very clear, specific reasons why he was killed. And that is important. It is particularly, Malcolm is so important personally, because he's the guy that him and Nat Turner were 2 men my father always talked about to me. You know, my mother at bedtime, my mother would read me, bedtime stories, and my father would tell me his own stories. He talked about Nat Turner, he talked about slave insurrections and how bad enslavement was, the glory of African civilizations. That's what my father did. And he talked a lot about Malcolm X, who my father would have been probably a late teenager and got to hear Malcolm himself on, 16th Street or whatever. Deeply moved by Malcolm, and he passed that passion on to me. So imagine when I find a copy of Malcolm X Speaks in my room when I'm grounded by my mom for something I cannot possibly remember, and I read that book in that weekend of being grounded, and I make a commitment. I'm gonna be like this man somehow, some way. I ain't gonna be 6'4". That's out of my genetic pool. But I'm going to be somebody that reads, takes knowledge and education very seriously. I'm going to be somebody, maybe I'm going to write a book one day. And I'm going to be somebody that is seen as a community empowerment agent, a agent for our community, not for the white man and for our enemies. That's helping us to wake up, clean up, and stand up. And if you think that's something, if I don't mean anything to you, then I want you to take me and multiply that by millions, because millions of people reached the same conclusion I did upon reading. Many of them read the autobiography of Malcolm X. Some people didn't get the knowledge like I did right at the house when they were little. Some people got it when they went off to college, or they had a high school teacher, or they had a community elder, or they went to African American Studies class, or they saw Spike Lee's movie on Malcolm X starring Denzel Washington and Angela Bassett. But regardless of when you got it and how you got it, once we got that Malcolm X bug, man, it was no going back. Very transformative, man. I ran into a man in Harlem. I was introduced to an old man, good shape, dark-skinned brother, had a little poodle he's walking. And the brother I was with said, man, tell him about Brother Malcolm. He loves Brother Malcolm. Tell him. He said he was a pimp. He had beat women. He had taken women's money for a living. And he had put some people down. This is this man telling me this right face to face in Harlem. And he said, Malcolm, I heard Malcolm speak. Somebody's been trying to get him to see Malcolm. He said, I don't want to see that nigga. Finally, he goes to the mosque, hears him speak. And he said he was just transformed. He said it was like hearing God. It's like when God spoke to Moses, right? Or when Paul falls off the donkey on his way to Damascus, and he's this tax collector, and he has this epiphany, and he becomes a man of God. like a powerful moment. And he said soon he started coming regularly to mosque. He joined. He said he stopped eating all. He went home. He took all his pork and threw that shit in the garbage. Told all his boys on the street he was out of the pimp game. To all the women he was supposedly pimping and certainly exploiting, he was done. Apologized for what he did. He's moving in a new direction. Right? That's the power. That's just my testimony and this brother's testimony. Now, I was never in the street like that. I didn't make that type of transition, or I was basically a kid when I made a decision I want to be like him. But he's reached Brother Yusef Bunches Shakur in Detroit. Gang banging. Started again. Robbing people. Maybe selling some drugs, breaking in people's homes. Goes to jail. Is reunited with his father, who's now a revolutionary, very respected in the prison system there. Takes him under his wing, feeds him some Malcolm, introduces him to other inmates who are like-minded, who are revolutionary thinkers. Yusef gets out, hits the ground running, never looked back and never went back to jail. This man has now taken old homes, and I think two of them in Detroit, renovated them, made them community centers for the youth. This man went to jail and had no degree. This man now has got his associates, bachelor's, master's, and very recently his doctorate degree. And certainly, like all of us, he credits many people in the village for helping him to have that type of discipline and consciousness and productivity. But one of the people he gives a lot of credit besides his mother and father is Brother Malcolm. I mean, he's just touched so many people. And I think that our enemies saw that in him. I think Honorable Elijah Muhammad saw that in him, which is why he made him his national representative. The first time in the nation's history that it ever had that post was created specifically for Malcolm X. And what does Malcolm do? He proves his mentor right. He immediately goes and sets up temples all over the place because he was a true believer. I just saw, man, if I get this man, he's going to go, he's going to build us up. And that's what he did. And the Nation of Islam went from 300 old folk, as Dr. Betty Shabazz famously said, to thousands, hundreds of thousands of people all over, young, old, high school, college students, factory workers, all classes of black people, all ages with all different skill sets. Because this man is taking his car and driving city to city, building mosques as he goes. Right? Started the first newspaper, Muhammad Speaks, before there was this final call. And he did it himself. He cut and paste typed articles, called up other people for the first time. He went outside the Nation of Islam and got some of the best black writers, the radical intellectual writers and editors to help him, right? To develop this paper. And now this paper, of course, now it's called the Final Call, but it is seen as, or certainly back then, one of the finest papers we had. Family, just take some time today. Reflect on Brother Malcolm. Say his name. Because in an era where we see leaders who are fake and phony and fraudulent, don't keep their word, don't show up when they're supposed to, not where they're supposed to be, with whom they're supposed to be, don't seem to be taking the study and research part of this seriously, very bitter in their speech and very kind of venomous towards other people in the community, and creating a record of being despotic and autocratic. It's important that we have people like Malcolm to look to as kind of not a role model in this hollow, so, oh, you my role model, but a person that we could judge our lives against. You don't know how many times in any school I was in, or even now, I was like, man, I'm going to sleep. Then I just think for a minute. I bet Harriet Tubman wanted to go to sleep. You never know, it sounds corny. I bet Brother Malcolm, they kept going. So then it gives me a little bit more. I said, let me just finish this chapter out. Let me do these 2, 3, 4 extra pages. Let me get through this devotional, even though I'm falling asleep as I'm doing the prayer, dead falling asleep as I'm doing the affirmation. We need people like that. Because they remind us of who we are and can be at our highest level if we get over our fear and our laziness and our cowardice and our wanting to be comfortable, right? Take a minute for Brother Malcolm today, family. Let me just pause to look at some of the comments. We're out of here. Donna Graham is in the building. Peace to the sister. Think I have had a freeze here. Okay, Donna Graham is saying that she got Donna Graham. She says, peace to the family. Peace, Sister Donna. She says, thank you. I'm assuming she's talking about, talking about Brother Malcolm. She says, I don't see a like, a subscription. Okay, she got it now. Very good. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for coming and checking us out, Sister Nana. And certainly we hope you take a little time today. I'm not asking for anything that's unrealistic. If you go into the average black home, black organization, black community, you're going to hear us talking about all types of bullshit for hours. Let's keep it real. Who's doing this? Who's hitting who wearing this? Who ain't all that? Okay, fine. Do you? All I'm asking is, man, give Brother Malcolm somebody that's worthy of your breath and attention. 5 or 10 minutes of your day. Talk about it. Reflect on how you came into consciousness of him. What has his impact been on you? Have you read any book on him? Oh, you might say, you know what, I'm gonna check out his autobiography, or if I read it already, I'm gonna reread it and see if I get new meaning. Or ask an elder in your community. What did you know? Did you hear about him? What did you think? Anything. But let's start those type of conversations. Because those conversations, unlike the bullshit we talking about, will get our people, or certainly us, to a better place. And this is almost like one of those things. We talk about mass movements and mass organizations, but the truth is, organizations are composed of individuals. Households, we complain, oh, this ain't right. Well, guess what? Those are composed of individuals. Sports teams, and I can keep going down the line. And so if we want to have this effect on this big mass level, we also have to talk about how do we make black people better as people, as individuals, one by one, as we talk about this mass movement, right? We have to. It's very important. And as for me, I'm a lifelong lover of Brother Malcolm, man. I can't tell you how many times he has popped up in my life, how my Jegnas, my master teachers, brother Dr. James Turner at Cornell, founder of the Africana Studies and Research Center, said he spoke to Malcolm personally. Said he was a young knucklehead, very bright, had his in his local street gang, and he was telling Brother Malcolm after a speech, my family says I'm real smart, I should go to school, and I don't want to be in the white man's school, just like you said, Brother Malcolm. And he stopped him. He said, Malcolm said, whoa, stop. So my critique of the white man's school is how he has taken education and perverted it and stole from us and not giving us proper credit. He said, if there's any regret I have, young brother, it's that I did not go to college. He said, I love information. I would have loved to have gone to college. Right? He told my mentor as a young man, please, please don't make the decision. Don't think that not going to college is somehow some strike against the white man, young brother. Please. Our people need knowledge, wisdom, and understanding and skills. Please go to college. And please take that information and use it for the people. And with that, Malcolm was gone. And with that, we had a Dr. James Turner born. He just touched so many people. And those people deserve our respect and our love and our energy and our time. Because you can tell a person by what energizes them and what turns them off. You can tell a person by what they get excited about when you mention it. And you mention this thing, they go the opposite direction. We have to create generations, particularly of young. I ain't talking about the old folk, the young people, generations of young people that are turned on by information about Africa, antiquity, our civilizations, uh, um, how we fought against our enslavement and colonization, how we fought to organize, how we fought to inspire our people. When we may have had nothing material to be inspired about. But I'm thinking if people who are raped, pillaged, plundered, exploited of their labor don't get a dime, whipped every day, can get up and say, thank you, Lord, for another day. And another day to fight, another day to plan, another day to run away. What the fuck are we complaining about? We should be able to do it too. That's why I say I'm not asking about your circumstance. I'm talking about your spirit. Be in the right spirit. You can be in the right spirit as you're dying, fam. And that's what they've taken from us, our spirit. We whine over there, we cry, we stop, I tell what's up? Unwilling to sacrifice for things of high priority. We sacrifice it for people who don't deserve it, for low priority issues. We can change that. And Brother Malcolm is just, I see him as a person we can look to get some direction, some guidance. He's not the all powerful, all knowing being. He's not the most high, but he's a representative. He's an example that you could take somebody that was doing this and doing that dirt. We talk about Pookie and Ray Ray, and Pookie and Ray Ray got potential too. That's what Malcolm shows us, right? When we invest in people and we see the best in them, and we don't let them slide, we don't let them get away with their debauchery. We call them on it, but it's the way we do it out of love. And we tell them there's another way. We don't have to go that way, brother. My sister, we don't have to go that way, right? He shows us what love looks like. Not just sounds like, because you got to love a people to know that they're trying to kill you and still go do speeches. Brother Martin Luther King, that last speech he gave, I've been to the mountaintop. The day before he delivered that speech, he received a telegram or an anonymous note, I should say, from the CIA, from the FBI, basically insinuating that he should kill himself, or they were going to release information about his sexual habits or whatever. The night of that speech, Abernathy was supposed to speak. The people kept demanding they wanted to hear King. So Abernathy called King. King's in the hotel. He's not feeling well. He's probably, can we be honest? He was probably a little scared, feeling a little anxious. I don't want to go out there. It was a rainy day. It was just one of those days. And he got up out of his bed, knowing the letter he just got. And what's he say? I'm saying today, I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Huh? That's love. You don't do that to get attention. Attention seekers ain't gonna put their life on the line for you, family. Do understand that. They'll do shit to get attention, but when it's time to do A, B, and C, they will be nowhere to be found. Trust me on that. Those people love you. That's why they're doing that. Putting their neck on the line. Please, let's give Malcolm his proper credit and expertise, family. I got to go. I have an appointment. I just wanted to get this in while it was on my spirit. Love y'all. Please subscribe to the channel. Please, Sister Donogram, thank you for coming and actually giving some contribution through your comments. We appreciate that. It makes the broadcast more engaging than just me running my mouth. Appreciate you. Family, have a blessed day. Don't let this white man, don't let anybody, don't let Negroes in your family, on your block, in your organization, whatever, demoralize you. We can win and we will win. And if you don't think that, I don't know what to tell you. You lost already. You got to believe, family. We got this. We've been through, believe it or not, we've been through worse. And we can get through this. Family, thank you so much. Peace, Black Power, Wukusu. Have a beautiful day. Don't forget to say Brother Malcolm's name today. Think about it. Peace.